Kelly Rowland, you are not alone. Portia Williams is still twerking and squatting. And Pastor Jamal Bryant, I think his bachelor days are over. Wink, wink, I think. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, it's your girl Miss C Speaks, and I'm back. How y'all doing? How was your holiday Memorial weekend? I hope y'all had a good time. I know I hit up every cookout and restaurant that my car would take me to, along with my mom's, and just enjoying myself with a few good friends. So yes, I had a great weekend. I hope you all had a blessed and happy Memorial Day weekend. I just want to thank you all who are in the military. Just thank you so much for your service, and I know prayers to the families of all the fallen heroes. So I just hope you guys had a great time, because my weekend was fantastic. Now, I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I got about a good 15-20 minutes of hot topics in me that I want to share, because there's been a lot going on in these Hollywood streets all weekend long. And so, Hollywood never sleeps, so neither can I. All right? So we're going to get into it. I know who we're going to talk about first. Miss Kelly Rowland, okay? She's not alone, y'all. Like I said, she is not alone. Honey, when we saw Kelly tussling with that security guard on at the music festival, not the music festival, the film festival in Cannes, we were thinking, oh my God, why is she treating Miss Kelly like this? She's the sweetest woman in the world. Nobody else is being treated like this. Well, hold the phone. We were absolutely wrong about that, okay? There were several women after her who were really, really poorly treated, and one of them started fighting back. Girl, she almost pushed the lady down the steps, child. This first woman right here, I think this is a European model from, I want to say she is from, I'm not sure exactly what country. I think it's the one that's currently at war right now that America's sending all that money to Ukraine. Yeah, I think she's from Ukraine, and she was literally carried out, okay? Carried out. And from what I understand, after reading a few articles, she wasn't allowed to come back. So that was another one. That was a second woman who was mistreated by the same security guard. Then we have this pop star, this Asian pop star. I think her name is Yuna. She was real polite and real, demure as well. But she was extremely agitated, as you can see, by the same security guard. And I'm like, where is her boss? I know there has to be a lead security officer in the vicinity who could have addressed the security guard to say, but then there were actually security guards that addressed her, and they were like, look, you're doing too much. Slow down. You lean up off him, because she would be hovering. Literally at one point, it almost looked like she had her hand on Kelly's ass. She was so close. But as you can see, this is the second person since Kelly would hit the red carpet to be mistreated by this security guard. And then this third woman, who was actually extremely vocal and even kind of got physical with the security. Everyone's just calling her the security guard because nobody knows her name. But this second woman is of Dominican descent. She's from the Dominican Republic, and her name is Miss Marcel Tavares. And after she had this kind of explosive, just interaction with this security guard, I seriously thought she was going to throw her down the steps. And I was kind of had my fingers crossed. I was like, please let her go down them steps so they can send her ass home, because this woman is horrible. Well, after all of this went down, she got on her Instagram, Miss Marcel Tavares, and she wrote, I think this is on, Monday, May 27th. She wrote, I want to thank all of you for this incredible support. Today, more than ever, we need to stay together, support each other, protect our soul, have strong boundaries, and stand for our rights. Then Tavares actually addressed Kelly Rowland. And in her post, she says, she's a Dominican actress and model, by the way. And in her post, she praised Rowland for the way she handled being ushered off the red carpet at the premiere of the French-Italian film Marcello Mio on Tuesday, May 21st. Now, all of this information comes via Us Magazine, and she continues to write in her Instagram post addressing Kelly, saying, let's show some love and respect to the extraordinary Kelly Rowland, a pure soul, a talented, classy, educated woman of color that represents with respect all of us. Tavares wrote in the caption of her post. And then she goes on to say, I'm impressed how you handled yourself, sister. I didn't know that happened to you first. I was very impressed how calm and gentle you were because in my case, I was tired of the abuse. We could tell because you almost threw her down the steps. Then she wrote, then she continues, Black women matter. We are not going to be in silence on these situations like that. We need respect. It's enough. I hug you, queen. Hashtag Kelly Rowland. I thought that was beautiful. Um, it's nice to know, that she sees Kelly Rowland as another black sister to herself. Even though this woman is very fair, she understands, as a Dominican woman, that she is black. And I just thought it was beautiful that she wanted to embrace Kelly's situation and show support for Kelly. I know Kelly initially thought that this was maybe racially motivated, and honestly, it kind of felt that way, as we were all looking on and watching the situation. However, seeing that who's European woman, white Ukrainian woman, actually picked up and carted off the red carpet and tossed out of the event, may have, caused me pause on that notion. So we may have been wrong about that. This woman just may be horrid and horrible to everyone. And should not be allowed to return ever. Okay? Ever. I cannot believe how she treated these celebrities. They know that these celebrities want to pause on the red carpet, stand on those steps, because the steps were really nice. They were very grand. So it would make sense if you have a long flowing gown with a train, or you have a long cape, that you want to take a few photo ops on those steps. Now, she did have a chance to finally showcase that beautiful cape she was wearing with White Jesus. And I'm like, why are y'all giving White Jesus a hard time? Let White Jesus get his pictures in, okay? She was able to finally showcase that inside of the theater where the event was hosted. And here's a picture right there. It's quite beautiful. I love the art there. I'm not necessarily into White Jesus, but I can appreciate art of all forms. And I think that this gown is absolutely fabulous. You know what I mean? So I'm glad she was finally able to showcase it. Obviously, it wasn't the same kind of grand photos she would have gotten on those steps. I just don't understand why these security guards, knowing that these celebrities were going to want to take pictures in these gowns, show them off, allow the designers to kind of get some additional press in a more grander form on those steps. I just don't understand why they couldn't have incorporated like a 10-second rule for the steps for each celebrity. To say we're going to stand back, let you get your ops in, your photo ops in, and then we have to usher you up. And that could have been announced before they even went on the red carpet, so they would know once they hit the steps, they got 10 seconds, because those automatic cameras will shoot out photos like so fast, and it'd be over. Then they can move on. But they were complete assholes. No one's going to be able to convince me anything different. Complete assholes to these women. I was just, when I saw the videos of these 4 women, I don't even know how many other women were mistreated, but when I saw the videos of these 4 women being mistreated, carted off, pushed up the steps, and then the Dominican actress literally came to blows, and almost pushed her down the steps, because she had enough. Every time she tried to fluff out her cape so that it could be open and pictures could be taken, they would pick it up. Even the men that were crowded around her, or just pick the male security, were picking up her cape every time she put it down. And so it was awful to watch. Y'all need to boycott this film festival if it's held in Cannes again next year. I wouldn't go if I were you guys. Not with the way you were treated. You literally have to go to a red carpet with your Vaseline and your boxing gloves in your purse, just in case you get into a mishap with a security guard. They literally acted like they were at the WWE. I've never seen anything like that. Never. So honestly, I feel like all of you guys, you actresses and actors, need to boycott Cannes going to any of their red carpets until they get this BS together with their security, because that was a lot. That was a whole, it was giving WWE moments. Okay, seriously. But I'm glad we were able, to get more information. We still don't know if the security guard has been fired or not. There have been a lot of questions. People have actually put out petitions saying that they want her gone. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know. She definitely got her 15 minutes of fame, no child. Definitely got her 15 minutes of fame. Hope it was worth it. Hope it was worth it. Well, we gonna move on, child. We gonna move on to who we gonna? Yes. Let's talk about Pastor Jamal Bryant. Yes, Pastor Jamal Bryant has announced his engagement. Now he didn't get engaged. He announced this at his church in Atlanta on Sunday. He didn't get engaged on Sunday, but he announced it to the congregation. So this engagement must have happened fairly recently. I think his new fiance's name, right here, Carrie Turner, Pastor Carrie Turner. Now, this woman moved up through the ranks in his church very, very quickly. She went from, I think, like a children's church pastor and then became like the associate pastor of the church, which is basically like second in charge. So there had been rumors about these two dating for some time. And so finally he came out in service and decided to let the whole church know that it's a real thing. Let you take a listen.
I wanted to marry her because I wanted her to be the moon, because I don't want there to be a night that I don't see her. I wanted her to be the sun, to be a reminder that the dark season of my life is over. I wanted her to be a rainbow, just to be a reminder that God's promise is still good for my life. And I wanted her to be the rain, to let me know that the harvest is coming. So for 5 years, you've just had a pastor. But going forward for the rest of my days, you're going to have a first lady. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
All right, Pastor. Honey, he is a smooth operator. I might account for all them extra babies he keep having. Ciao. Well, congratulations, Pastor Bryant and Pastor Turner. Pastor Turner is a very interesting woman. I'm going to put up a few photos for you guys. She's very, very, very beautiful. They've been calling her Giselle 2.0 because they're saying that she kind of resembles her. I think it's just the blonde hair. I don't really think Pastor Brian has a type. This man has been all around the world in when it comes to women, okay? And unfortunately, he has stepped out on a prior marriage with Giselle Bryant and had affairs, outside babies, and even a recent outside baby, which allegedly was at the church service this day when he made this announcement. Another outside baby from recent years. I think the baby might be like a toddler. So, honey, you're going to have your hands full. But here are some pictures of Pastor Turner. She has a very interesting dress code, as you can see. You know, I understand times have changed, and, you know, pastors and church moms are not the church moms from the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. Okay, I know that, you know, people are a lot more liberal with their dress, but, ooh, child, she dressed better than me when I go to the club, okay? And they call her the BBL pastor, you know, side action here. So both of these two seem to be a bit on the worldly side. So, you know, maybe he might have to watch out for her, honey, because this woman is rolling Nicki Minaj style, okay? Just real body yada yada, and she ain't afraid to show it off. So I don't know. I mean, I personally, like I said, I am from the Baltimore area, so I knew Pastor Jamal Bryant from back in the day when he had his church at Empowerment Temple. I had visited a few times. He's actually a very dynamic speaker. He's very, very, very good. And I enjoyed the service. You know, however, my antenna started going up when I noticed there will be lines and lines of women after church service lining up just to say goodbye to him after church. He would leave. At the time, Empowerment Temple was located at Coppin State University's auditorium. This was while he was waiting for the Empowerment Temple to be built on the, I think it was the eastern side of Maryland. So at the time, you know, he had a temporary location until that church was built. So anyway, after service would be over, women would line up to shake his hand and say goodbye and give him a hug and whatever. And it was so bad because they, you know, these women were so freaking just all up in this man's face that he had to have security guards on each of his side, kind of like Can Child, to make certain that, nothing crazy happened and they didn't get too, over the top with it. But I mean, the line would stretch from the back, the entrance door into the auditorium where service was being held, all the way down to where the stage was, where he actually originally was preaching. So it was this line was so long, and I was like, and it would be nothing but women, no men in the line, just women. Okay. In fact, whenever I would go visit the church, it was populated with 90 to 95% women. Only men really I ever saw were the men that were working for him, that were working at the church. Outside of that, the auditorium was filled with women. So he got a lot of attention, and it started to turn me off a little bit because I felt like it just felt really inappropriate. And this was, I think this was towards the end of he and Giselle's marriage, or right after he had gotten caught with the whole cheating incident and the outside baby that he had on her. So from that point on, I had visited the church for like maybe a month or two, and I decided I can't do this anymore because something is not right in the buttermilk up in this joint. These women are out here flocking. And I remember Giselle, and don't quote me on this either, allegedly told a story about how one woman, I think that he was cheating with, had approached her in the ladies' room of the church, basically challenging her over her husband. Okay, so it was that kind of energy. Okay, it was a hot mess. Now I don't know what kind of man Jamal is today. However, he's in Atlanta now. He's at another church. He's doing his ministry for God, but they have also seen him out at the clubs smoking hookah. So I don't know how that all correlates. In fact, let me see. Do we have a picture of Jamal Bryant at the club smoking hookah? At club smoking hookah. I think there are some images out here of, yes, Jamal Bryant at the club smoking hookah right here. So I don't know how all this correlates with who he is being the man of God of today, but who am I to judge? God judges us in the end, and I guess he'll have to, explain this. Like, what kind of music were you listening to, Mr. Bryant, when you were smoking that hookah? Was it the Winans? Or was it Yolanda Adams? Or were you listening to Chris Brown? I'm just saying. Well, we haven't heard anything from Giselle regarding these new nuptial announcements, but I'm sure she needs something for a storyline on Potomac. So I'm sure this situation will wiggle its way into one of the Potomac or two of the Potomac episodes. However, I've been hearing word on the curb she's not doing too well now that she doesn't have her lapdog sidekick Robin Nixon or whatever her last name is. She was so unmemorable. I don't even remember her last name. Dixon, that's it. She doesn't have her sidekick to help her through scene to scene and bullying the rest of the girls, and now, ironically, Giselle has become the outcast of the group. So she's having a hard time filming this season, and she probably won't be there next year if she doesn't get her shit together. But that's a whole nother video, honey. And I will be reviewing the next season of Housewives of Potomac, since I live close by to them, and hopefully I'll have some exclusive tea for y'all, since I am literally steps away. But anywho, you guys, good luck to you, Jamal and Dr. Turner. You gonna need it, girl. Moving on. Next up, and last but certainly not least, I am so tired of talking about Porsha Gubadia Williams. Ciao. Honey, so much craziness has been going on with these two. And let's just start with the fact that, Mr. Gubadia was being a little shady. He had put out an Instagram post congratulating Shamia on her new Rolls Royce. And he had put in his post that he wanted her to know that he was so happy for her, congratulating on her birthday, and basically saying, congratulations to, one of the only real housewives in Atlanta who has a Rolls Royce. And then, of course, Porsha and Kenya, they get together, and Kenya wanted him to know, I have a Rolls Royce too. Thank you very much, Simon. And I paid for mine. Well, you know, she got to be shady. She had to slide that in there. So Porsha gets with Kenya, and they decide to do this little photo shoot right here and show off their Rolls Royces because in Simon's Instagram post, he was kind of alluding to the fact that he had repossessed Porsha's Rolls Royce. As you know, he had given her this car, you know, as a gift, just I think about a year ago. And, you know, obviously this is, you know, him gifting her the car, and she's so happy. She's laying on the car and hugging Simon and all those things. So Porsha wanted everyone to know that she still had the Rolls Royce. So she decided to get with Kenya and take these photos and show everyone that they're still a part of the Rolls Royce club. Now, interestingly enough, Kenya and Porsha don't like each other, or at least they didn't. But, you know, for the cameras, they got to do something because she can't film in her house. And we'll get to that in a second. She can't film in her house. And so basically the cameras for Real Housewives of Atlanta, they're rolling now, but it's a limited edition when it comes to filming because the main attraction was supposed to be Porsha, her relationship with Simon, and this house. Then she blew up her relationship. She's the one that filed. And then the House of Cards started tumbling down. So anyway, getting back to the shade with the Rolls Royces, she kind of goes and shows off the Rolls Royces, and she wants everyone to know that she's still in the house. She's still, you know, in this Rolls Royce. She still has it. And then Simon comes along, and he wants everyone to know that, hey, this is how I feel about Porsha. He calls her a pig with lipstick. I'm like, oh my God, Simon is so mean. So first of all, they're going back and forth on Instagram. And he's making posts saying, debt builds wealth, poor credit destroys wealth. Which would you rather have? So this is in response to Porsha's little shady statement about Shamia being married to someone with good credit, not, you know, drowning in debt, and he's a U.S. citizen. So Simon then goes in and says, Simon had more to say on social media. He took to Instagram to discuss debt and bad credit and asked which one people would rather have. The businessman captioned the image, a pig with lipstick does not make one beautiful, because when the lipstick fades, all you see is what it always was, a pig. And then he has a pig emoji. So basically, I mean, I think that was pretty mean. You know, Simon, I feel like he's feeling, you know, really upset just about the holidays. He had mentioned in another post that just last year this time he was really having a great time surrounded with friends and family at his home on Memorial Day, and now he's displaced and his kids have no secondary home with him, and they're having to fly to Dubai just to spend time with him. So he's really feeling the pain, and he's the kind of guy that when he's really upset, he gets spiteful. And honestly, I can't like 100% blame him. I can understand some of his angst in this situation. And here's why. Porsha recently just filed to the courts to try to force Simon to allow her to be able to film at his house. Now, mind you, remember, he bought this house before he and Porsha got married. So this is not necessarily going to be a part of the divorce split, even though I get this sinking feeling that she's going to try to make it a part of the settlement and the divorce. But her name's not on anything. It's on the deed. It's they didn't buy the house together, and he bought it before they got married. So let me just read you a little. And that last excerpt that I read with you was from, I think it was from Radar, but this particular excerpt is from Reality T. And in the article, it's the title of the article is Simon Gabodia demands Porsha Williams reveals multi-million-dollar Bravo deal. Because you have to remember, a lot of people are like, why does he want to know about her income? Let me tell you why. One of the reasons is when they got the prenup together. Within the prenup, it states that she would not work, that she would be a housewife and a traditional wife, where he would take care of all of the finances for her, and financially take care of all of her needs. That was a stipulation in this prenup. Now, she went at the end of their marriage and got a job at Bravo, and at first I thought Simon knew that she was going back to Bravo to negotiate a deal. I thought he knew, but turns out he had no idea. While he was out of town on business, she was negotiating a deal with Bravo to come back, and he didn't know. So it seems like this was all premeditated for her, allegedly. It seems like she was planning to get a job, get out of this marriage, and go about her happy life without telling him what she was doing in the background. So while they were over in Dubai, splashing around in the water, having a great time, she was making a deal with Bravo and wasn't telling him. So this one was released literally smiling in his face, telling the world that she's his piece while wreaking havoc in the background. That's a snake, honey. That is a snake. Can you imagine feeling like you are the happiest person in the world? You're finally marrying, you're finally marrying the yin to your yang, and you believe you have peace with a person, and they are in the background doing all types of treachery. Then on top of that, when she left without telling him, filing for divorce, and left without telling him anything, she left the kids behind, didn't take them with her temporarily until he got back in town, and stuck them with the house manager or the housekeeper, forcing her to remain on those premises until he got home because she couldn't leave because the kids were minors. So this is why, Simon is basically making it known that he's not going to allow this divorce to be an easy exit for her. He almost did. He made a settlement to her and asked her, to move into her own place, and he would pay for it. And she refused that settlement. She turned it down because she wanted to stay in the mansion and continue with the narrative through Housewives that she's living this grandiose life. So anyway, back to this article. It says, the divorce battle between Porsha Williams and Simon Guobadia continues to be a messy one, as the two exes duke it out in court over the enforcement of their prenup. Simon is demanding access to all the details of Porsha's return to Roa. According to Simon, the sudden change in her employment status is highly relevant to their divorce. He's not just being nosy, he genuinely believes this will help prove their prenup isn't enforceable. This saga all started a few months ago when Simon demanded information from True Entertainment about Porsha's Bravo contracts. He wanted to know specifically what agreements she made with producers and asked her to turn over all relevant communication. He also sought to restrict Porsha from filming in their marital residence. After all, access to the home has been a major point of contention throughout the divorce and prenup enforcement. Porsha has tried to get the courts to dismiss Simon's request. She argued that her job has nothing to do with the prenup. However, Porsha, that isn't quite true because, again, in your prenup, you agreed not to work in order to stay within the terms of that agreement. And you got this job before you filed for divorce. So that kind of makes the waters a little murky for you. Simon and his lawyers don't agree with that. In the latest court filing, they said that all of this information is relevant, which I have to agree with them on that one. If the prenup, is saying what I just described. Radar Online has all the details on the latest chapter in this never-ending story. And yes, it is. My God. Wife's financial status and whether her current financial status of earning multi-millions just a little over 12 months into the parties' marriage would make enforcement of the prenuptial agreement fair, the filing read. It continued, the only way for this court to comply with its duties under the law in determining the enforceability of the prenuptial agreement is to explore the finances, income, and financial status of the wife. One point of contention for Simon is the fact that the announcement of her reinvigorated Bravo career came just days before she filed for divorce. That's what I just said. She filed for divorce after she had already signed a deal with Bravo, which means that she was within the terms of the prenup, which states that she's not supposed to be working during the course of their marriage. Remember, in addition to returning to Roa, Porsha announced that she entered an overall script talent deal with NBCU, which is NBC Universal. In Simon's mind, the court should consider these new potential potential revenue streams. Apparently, he asked her directly for her financial information, but she refused. Simon's legal team explained it is apparent that the wife's financial status and income has changed since the prenuptial agreement was executed in November of 2022. Meanwhile, Porsha just seems solely focused on filming Roa season 16. She's been sharing behind the scenes teasers on social media, plus she filed an emergency order to try to get the courts to allow production inside the house. She's not going down without a fight. And that is to me the most insane thing about this. I'm not certain how a court can force a homeowner to allow another party to bring cameras into their home. Now, they were required to enforce the part where Porsha could stay in the house for the next year or two while the divorce is going forward. But that's only because it's in the prenup. So we got to go back to the legal documents again. Every time she makes a move, the courts can only enforce her request if it is based on legal information that's already been outlined. And in the prenup, it does say that she could stay in the house for a year or two while they're going through the divorce. And even Simon's concessing that, because he's saying that she filed for divorce before the 15 months became due. Because it does say in the prenup that if they're married for 15 months, she can stay in the house for a year or two until the divorce is finalized. But he's saying that she filed before the 15 months. So that's another bone of contention that the courts have to mull over. So just like in any other legal docs that the courts have to follow, they also have to determine if they can legally force Simon to allow someone to film in his home if he doesn't want that to happen. I don't see how it's possible to force someone who owns property to allow a third party to come in with cameras. I don't see how that's enforceable, especially since her name isn't on anything. But somehow in Porsha's little small mind, she believes it's possible. Just like she thought the Underground Railroad was really a train underground. So, but yeah, I guess we are just gonna have to kind of keep our eyes open on this and see where it goes. In the meantime, Porsha is still, being a troll just like Simon, and she's, as you can see, twerking by the pool for Memorial Day with the family. Since she can't film anything through Real Housewives of Atlanta, she's, got a Instagram posts that are, I guess pissing Simon off. So, that's her by the pool. Her sister was there. This guy is there, as you can see. I think that's just a friend of hers. That's just a mutual friend of the family. And to me personally, she's just adding fuel to the fire. I don't understand why she doesn't see why he won't. Either she doesn't understand or she doesn't care. But she doesn't seem to understand why he won't be cooperative after she upped and left without warning, without even a discussion. She left his kids behind, without making sure they were safe when she did leave. And she essentially pretended that she truly loved this man and wanted to be with him, when it appears that she had been planning for months to, get a deal with Bravo and allegedly violate her prenup by getting this deal while she was married and working. And then she just upped and left and divorced him. And now she's confused as to why he has no interest in making concessions when she makes these requests. So I don't know why she doesn't get it. Not that Simon's hands are clean either, because he's made a lot of, poor decisions, and people looking at him like he's scammy Simon. He has done some questionable things, different last names, just all the previous marriages he's had where they've been a little shifty. It's just a lot with Simon. But in this particular marriage, he seems to have been on the up and up. I mean, I guess we'll learn more during Real Housewives of Atlanta if there is more to the issues in their marriage than what meets the eye. But I'm going to have a hard time believing that, because as recently as February of this year, just weeks before she filed for divorce, Porsha was pretending that everything was great and that he is her piece. And the only time a woman pretends that everything is great typically is when there is DV involved. And not once has she said anything about that. She's never accused him of putting his hands on her or physically mistreating her. In fact, she was the one that rolled up in his house with a gun and with a gunman on her side, frightening his children. And we know Porsha is usually the one who has the DV problem. She's usually the one wailing on somebody's tail. So it doesn't appear that there's any DV issues that would have caused her to act so erratically moments, literally weeks later after February 14th when they were seen in Dubai being so happy. So it's just really weird. Porsha's behavior is just, in my opinion, treacherous. She is treacherous. I wouldn't even be her friend. And Shamia, you need to watch your back, girl, because she's going to come for your ass and probably your husband too, okay? You need to watch your back. Just sidebar, Shamia had a little birthday party and Porsha was there and she was just all loud and boisterous, trying to be the center of attention, especially when they were presenting Tamia with the birthday toast. Shamia with the birthday toast. You know, Porsha was talking over everyone and you could see her, Porsha was behind the camera, but she just wanted to be heard. So you need to watch out, Shamia, because Porsha was fine with you as long as you were the sidekick, the friend of the show, and in the background. Now you front and center with a peach, and it appears you are the richest housewife in the group. I mean, you're basically living the lifestyle that Porsha sold to Bravo. Be afraid, honey. Be very afraid, because you look more to me. What I get from Shamia, what she gives is I'm a lover, not a fighter. And Porsha is a boxer. She's a bulldog in a skirt. So, Shamia, well, maybe not a pig in lipstick. Maybe she's a boar in lipstick. Shamir, just watch your back. So that's all the mess I have on these two. I'm tired of talking about Porsha and Simon. I don't want to hear nothing no more about them until they divorced. And Real Housewives of Atlanta, y'all better bring it this season, because right now we're getting Porsha's entire storyline before the season even starts. So I don't really know what Porsha's gonna be bringing. Y'all might as well just fire her now and give her peach away. I moved to Atlanta. Come on, send me a peach. Well, y'all, please drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about these 3 topics today. I know y'all got a lot to say, so let's get it going in the comments section. And please like and subscribe. I love y'all. Please become a member of this family, because we have a good time, a giggle, and a kiki every chance we get. Okay, make sure you see some of my take some time to review some of my other content. I like to have a good time and a good cackle while I'm having it. Okay, love you guys. See you soon, and have a blessed rest of the day. Bye.